Hello, friends. Hi, how are we today? I hope we are all doing well. I am doing fantastic. I'm here for the week of November 11th through the 17th. We are making our way downtown, walking fast. Pace is fast, and I'm homebound. Sorry, I'm in a weird mood today. Anywho, I am doing I don't know. I want to say that it's Fall Beauty Kit, but I think it's called Enchanted Forest. That doesn't seem right. Anyway, it's this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kit from Simply Gilded. And I bought it because I needed the bookshelf washi. You guys know I have a little bit of a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. Anyway, I ended up buying a bunch of different like boxes, including ones that had the bookshelf on a buy sell trade group, and I didn't want to let any of it go to waste. So I thought, this is a great anytime kit. I'm not sort of prepared to do winter kits in the middle of November. I don't really want to do more autumnal stuff because we have Thanksgiving in October in Canada. I am ready for something different. So I thought this was a really, really nice compromise. And you know what? I think it turned out really, really well. I don't know. Maybe it's because I wasn't used to planning with this kit. Maybe it's because the week was spread out weirdly. Some days had a lot going on, some days didn't have a lot going on. It took me a very, very, very long time to get everything laid down the way that I wanted to. One of the things is I wanted to be a little bit more meticulous about what I was doing with my laying down, only because once this paper that Simply Gilded uses, Irene uses, once it is down in my planner, it will not come up. So, I had to be sort of intentional, more intentional than I have been about where I'm laying everything. And then, I don't know, it just took me such a long time to film this. Like, I've really, really, really reduced the speed. I don't know. Regardless, I really like how it turned out. I couldn't quite figure out what to do on the sidebar. I think one of the issues is that that was what took me the longest time. So I didn't really have any habit trackers, and I thought, I don't really particularly use my habit trackers. It's not something like aggressively that I need to do. So I was like, you know what? Maybe what I will start to do is I will just make my sidebar a little bit decorative. But really, if we're going to be totally honest about it, what I did was I avoided the sidebar until I absolutely could not avoid the sidebar anymore. And we will get to it when we are getting to it. I did use the headers, which, as you know, I've had some issues getting the headers off my page. So I was really happy to be able to bring them in. And then, oh my gosh, the struggle with the date covers. Oh, we won't even get into it. I felt so stupid. I was trying to find a pen. I wrote the days. I wrote 11 through 17, completely forgetting that there are these kiss cut hearts that she adds on a separate page that have the date dots on them. So they come in eventually. Do not worry. It looks much better. But until then, I am so sorry. It just looks a bit messy. But overall, this is just a visually stunning spread. It's really nice to look at. I a little bit wish that I had gone for more neutral colors with my character icons, but some of them just can't be helped. And yeah, so I'm just going in, as I said, I'm just putting down the day covers. And one of the things about this kit, sorry, is that you can stretch these. So if you were to be using a journal, you can stretch it out for 4 weeks. I'd done some pen tests earlier, and this is the pen that worked. And then I was like, I don't really love this. I was like, you know what? I had best try some pens again. I thought I was going to find a pen that worked, and none of my pens were working. And I can't remember which pen I had done last time. So I was like working on it. That's part of the reason that this took so long. So there was a little bit of smudging, but it was fine. As long as I let it dry first, it was fine and it didn't smudge. So then you see me writing in the dates here, and then I think you're going to see me lose my entire mind because I found the date dots very shortly after this. And I think I couldn't avoid it any longer, and I moved into my day by day, or my sidebar rather. So I started by pulling in that extra header there. And then I was like, what am I going to do at the bottom? So I decided to use the book half box in here to note that I was reading Thrall by K.A. Riley. I think I had mentioned it in my previous spread, but if you are not reading it, then you absolutely should be. It's a phenomenal dystopian fantasy Cinderella retelling. It is outstanding, and I am so glad that I read it. And I'm actually currently reading her new book called Rekindled, and it's a YA dystopian fantasy. It's outstanding. It is outstanding. I think it puts, what's that one? Fourth Wing to shame. It's just such a good book. Anyway, I put this box in the middle, and I just pulled it in, and I layered some of these little bow stickers down just for my meals for the week. I forgot to add them into my actual planner spread, so I'll fill that out later, like off when I'm not talking to you guys anymore. But I just thought this is the best way to do it. I didn't even have like a full checklist. And honestly, every single time, I didn't feel like looking through my stash to find one. Sometimes you just don't. Then I had an idea, and I didn't know how it was going to work. I don't know if I love the look of it, but I pulled these little flags in, and I put them side by side. I messed it up side by side, but I moved them to either side, and it just took up some space. It looks nice. I just don't know if I love it. And I got very lucky that didn't tear the page. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the important stuff, the day by day. So on Monday, I used a squish icon from Fox and Cactus to note that I worked in my office. And again, this was a very, very, very low-key day. So I added in some of my bookshelf washi later, but I had a no spend day here. And then I later that day emptied my dishwasher. Again, it was a very low-key day. So then on Tuesday, I went to Starbucks in the morning and I worked in office. I used another squish icon from Fox and Cactus for that. Then I used a ramen bowl to note that I went out for lunch with ramen with my friend Saisha, which was very nice. And then in the afternoon, I was so mad, and this is going to be like an ongoing trend for a little while. The buses were so late. Normally, if I leave my office at like 3:45-ish, I can get home by 4:45, and it's fine. Sometimes I can get home even earlier than that if I like book it to the bus and I get it and I get the early bus. This date, for some reason, there was no traffic, there were no accidents, I was just late. I left my office at 3:45. I did not get home until 5:45. It was horrific. I got Happy Meal from Rachel, which I marked with the Sweet Tea Sticker Co. icon, and then I dissociated on my phone for a little while. I used an emoji head for that, and another emoji just to note that I went to bed pretty early-ish. I just talk about bed and I start yawning. It's really my favorite place in the whole entire world. Anyway, on Wednesday, I used a paper and milk icon. I worked from home on this day. And then another Coffee Monsters Co. emoji. I ended up budgeting. And as you can see, I'm just waving the page just to make sure that the writing is dry so that I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? Smudge it. Then I got more Happy Mail on this day from Fox and Cactus, and another 2 icons from Sweet Tea Sticker Co. to mark that I also got my Sadie stickers ordered on this day. I'm pretty sure it was my 2025 planner that I have yet to touch in the middle of May. We're nearly 6 months into the year. That's pretty pathetic. Then I used a Stick with the Plan Co. sticker squidge to note that I did Play-Doh with my boys. After which I had a bath after they went to bed, and then I stayed up super duper duper late finishing Thrall. Oh, so good. And that cliffhanger, it took all my willpower not to start Broken. Like immediately. It was insane. We move on to Thursday, and on Thursday I work from home again. I just used a paper and milk Maru for that, and I was up at 3:30 in the whole entire morning with my littlest. 3:38 a.m. to be 1000% exact about that. So that was really, really rough. Especially because I had gone to bed so late the night before finishing Thrall. And I will tell you, I was grumpy. I was grumpy on this day. But the benefits of being up at 3:38 in the morning. Oh, sorry. And on Wednesday, if you'll notice, I had just forgotten to add things into my day. Like I hadn't had any stickers pulled. Anyway, the benefits of being up at 3:38 in the morning were that I was able to feed my starter and start the sourdough process. 3:38 a.m. Fantastic. Anyway, I didn't think it needed an icon. I love that feed starter script from Sweet Tea Sticker Co. I might get it in her newest font. I'm not sure what her newest font is called. I think it's called Abigail. It's my new favorite. You absolutely need to go check it out. And then another Sweet Tea Sticker Co. icon. I just got takeout for lunch because I was so tired I couldn't even conceive of making a meal for myself. So I got St. Louis for myself, and then I also picked up my husband so that he could take some for work. And then that evening I set myself one singular task, and I ordered Christmas cards. And I used leftover credit card stickers from the Prairie Planner. It ended up being a big waste. I'm really upset because the Canadian postal strike started shortly. Actually, I'm pretty sure it started on the Monday, and it was just a really big bummer. On Friday, I used another paper and milk Maru to note that I worked from home, and then a little pencil from the Coffee Monsters Co. Rachel told me that that's where they were from, to note that my big kid had a PA day. And it was PA days because it was parent-teacher interviews. So I used a Stick with the Plan Co. Is that what it is? Now I'm second guessing myself. What is her shop name? Is that right? Is it Stick with the Plan Co? Stick with the Plan Co. What am I doing? Oh my God. That was like narcissist level gaslighting. Holy crap. Anyway, it was parent teacher interview, so I had one for my kid. I had made homemade pancakes for breakfast that morning, and then my husband, because he works in the evenings, took my little guy off for an adventure, which was just groceries, and I used a Teddy Plans Co. sticker for that. Then another paper and milk icon just to note that I baked some bread. And I used a squish with a drill to note that I unclogged the basement drain. Not with a drill, but I just felt like I don't need no man to help me out. So I did that. And then again, it's that, what is it called? Something bedtime? Rebellion bedtime. I don't know. I stayed up way too late once again. On Saturday, another Coffee Monsters Co. sticker. I was so tired on this morning. We went to Costco for some groceries, a squish to mark that. And then these cute little icons from the Coffee Monsters Co. We went to the bank, and then we went to Bulk Barn. I managed to get in a 1-hour nap because my husband is a godsend and watch the kids. As he is, because I was so tired. My littlest started having some tantrums. If you'll recall, he just turned 2. So he started having some tantrums. He had 2 really, really big tantrums all day. We went to 2 parks on this day, didn't really help with the attitude. And then my husband and I had a date night, and that was just really fun. Then, on Sunday, a much more low-key day, we did laundry in the morning. We went to visit my mom from 9 till 10:45. If you recall, she had injured herself the week before, so she was just on the couch being bored. Then my littlest, it was like the most nightmarish day. He was the most nightmarish he's ever been. That evening I went to get a Christmas wreath with my big guy, and then I read with my littlest all evening, and that was all she wrote, folks.